The senator from Tennessee.
Mr. President, in 1969 and the first half of 1970, I was a wet behind the ears 29-year-old staff aide in the West Wing of the Nixon White House. Based upon that experience and my 40 years since then, in and out of public life, I want to make what I hope will be a friendly suggestion to President Obama in his White House. And it is this: don't create an enemies list. In 1971, Chuck Colson, who was then a member of President Nixon's staff and today is admired for his decade of selfless work in prison reform, presented a list of what he called, quote, persons known to be active in their opposition to our administration. Now, make no mistake, politics was not such a gentlemanly affair in those days either, on either side. What was different about Colson's effort, though, was the open declaration of war upon anyone who seemed to disagree with administration policies. All this came out during the Watergate hearings. You could see an administration spiraling downwards, and of course, we all know where it led. I have an uneasy feeling, only 10 months into this new administration, that we're beginning to see the symptoms of this same kind of animus developing in the Obama administration. The White House Communications Director recently announced that the administration would treat a major television network, Fox News, as, quote, part of the opposition, unquote. On Sunday, White House officials were all over talk shows urging other news organizations to, quote, boycott Fox and not pick up any of its stories. Even the president, in his address to Congress on health care, threatened to call out members of Congress who disagree with him. Mr. President, this behavior is typical of street brawls and political campaign consultants. It's a mistake for the President of the United States and for the White House staff. If the President and his top aides treat people with different views as enemies instead of listening to what they have to say, they're likely to end up with a narrow view and a feeling that the whole world is out to get them. And as those of us who served in the Nixon administration know, that can get you into a lot of trouble. Having once been there, I can understand how those in the White House feel oppressed by those with whom they disagree, how they feel besieged by some of the media. I hope the current White House occupants will understand this is nothing new in American politics, all the way back to the days when John Adams and Thomas Jefferson exchanged insults. The only thing new is there are today multiple media outlets reporting and encouraging the insults 24 hours a day. As any veteran of the Nixon White House can attest, we've been down this road before, and it won't end well. An enemies list only denigrates the presidency and the republic itself. These are unusually difficult times, with plenty of forces encouraging us to disagree. Let's not start calling people out and compiling an enemies list. Let's push the street brawling out of the White House and work together on the truly presidential issues.
I was fascinated by the senator from Tennessee's presentation, and I think we're all concerned about the direction of this calling out is taking. I take it the senator from Tennessee is suggesting that this administration is Nixifying the White House. Is that correct?
Well, that's a word I hadn't thought of. What I'm seeing is some of the same signs I saw as a young man in the early stages of the Nixon administration. I'm seeing those same signs in the Obama White House, and I'm suggesting that going down that road leads to no good end. Nixifying is an interesting way to describe it.
I mean, you've just made that word up. I hope it'll be added to the lexicon.
I think it will.
That's good. Thank you. I thank Senator from Tennessee. I think he's made some very valuable points on that issue.